Hey there, welcome. This is the first part of my thorough walkthrough of I Want a Lockpick. I will be explaining the logic to solve each and every puzzle, which can be both used just as a way to solve a puzzle you don't personally understand, or maybe just a part of it, and hopefully help you understand how future puzzles will work. I highly recommend that you play through this game though yourself, and just use this as a way to get through the tricky parts, rather than just watching this as a substitute. Like I said, I will be going piece by piece through a level, so you can just pause after you get past a part of a level that you were stuck at before. Whatever works for you. Either way, there's going to be timestamps for each and every level, so just jump to whichever one you need help with, and I'll see you there. Or you can just watch it the whole way through for fun. I don't make the rules. And just for the record, while it doesn't really matter currently, I will be assuming that anyone watching this has a full or at least decent grasp of the mechanics of every previous world before going in. So, don't expect explanations of old mechanics, or be surprised when you see in. So, without any further ado, let's get into our very first world, Doorhaven. I really hope you don't need a walkthrough for this first level, since it's just showing you how to open the doors effectively. It's the very basic concepts of spin a key of this color to get a key of another color to open the door to leave. This is the first level that actually demonstrates choice, but it's very easy as well. It can provide the player their first moment to really learn that, at least for right now, if you do see an opportunity to spin a key to get a key of the same color, and with there being no other way to get it, you should always do it, because this just opens up more of the level while not actually costing anything, effectively making it a neutral open. Another simple one, you probably, once again, don't need my help for this, but the first one that shows you to think about working backwards, as you need the pink key to leave, thus you need the purple, thus you should spin your white on purple to get pink to leave. An important piece of knowledge that obviously will only get expanded on as you go on. This is easily the most complicated so far, and the first time that it really makes the player spin more than one key at a time to get anywhere. Since you need 2 oranges, you can see that you have to get 2 white keys to get that many, and you effectively start with just 1 white and 1 green. This also means you can exclude the bottom orange key, since it can't open anything on its own. Thus, since you need 2 whites to get 2 oranges, and the only way to get 2 whites is by using your 1 green, you have to open the single white door and spin the green to get 2 whites, get 2 oranges from those, and then leave. This could easily be the first logic puzzle if you look at it like I have, but it's also definitely small enough that you could just kind of passively solve it without too much thought. Now, while 1-2 is what technically showed the first net neutral moves, this one is what truly demonstrates it, as many doors cost a key while giving it back immediately. You first can open all neutral doors, the 1 white at the bottom, then you're left to just grab an orange with your white and repeat the process. Then, after opening another neutral orange, you have to choose. But, since one door has more possibilities afterwards, whether or not you actually need the 2 orange keys past the blue door, you should open this one instead of the other. Then you once again have a first move into a blue key, another neutral blue move, and then grab the 2 oranges afterwards. Then you simply grab the 2 whites with your 2 oranges, and you leave. This one's arguably easier than the previous ones, since you have 3 neutral moves to start you off, and then you're just left with a cyan key and a choice. However, this one is also effectively giving you a neutral move, since the 1 door is just providing a cyan and an orange. Thus, you take that and the orange at the bottom, since you can't do anything else, open the top 2 oranges, take your blue, and leave through the bottom. While this one's a bit tricky at first, the keys recognize that you need a purple and a pink to leave, which that means that you immediately can see that you can't open the purple doors at all. Additionally, recognize neutral opens and take them where you can, and just by following that chain of neutral opens and ignoring purple ones, you'll end up with a middle pink key and can leave. This is the first appearance of both keys and doors. Since this is a pure tutorial puzzle, it's also not very difficult though. Simply just counting can logic out which doors to open. The 2 white doors, when opened correctly, end up at a net gain of 0 white but 3 orange, which is just enough to open the top orange door, so you'll have 6 white to leave. This is probably one of the easiest puzzles in the entire game in my opinion. You get 16 keys, all you have to do is count which combination of paths sum to 16, or technically less, but spoilers, it's an exact answer. So this level requires 6 white keys and provides 8 routes to get 1 at a time. While you could pretty easily brute force this one without too much thinking, I will provide a logical way through it anyways. So you're forced in the middle to spend at least 1 green key, so that means that you'll have only 3 to actually work with, which means you're forced into opening 1 of the 2 green and cyan doors. Doesn't matter which one, but you gotta open 1 of them. This leaves you with 1 green key effectively for something else. That, of course, forces you into having 0 cyan, but to get up to 6 whites, you'll need to open at least 1 more path that takes cyan. Thus, you're forced into getting the extra 2 cyan at the bottom. The only place you can spin these without ruining your current green count is on the bottom right key, and now you're only left with 4 keys that are even possibly accessible, with 2 being no-brainer pickups. And lastly, by simply counting things up, the only way to get your 2 remaining whites in the middle is by taking the left route on the bottom one and the right route on the top, thus finishing the final, normal level. This is our first bonus level, although if you're following order, you technically didn't need to beat 1-10 to be able to move on to World 2 anyways, so that was kinda also a bonus. Anyways, this one can be pretty tricky as well, very much relying on the player paying attention to the end requirements, which, among other things, include 2 pink keys. So, if you went through the top route, you'd effectively make no progress, but now you'd be unable to spend any more pink keys throughout the entire level. So, you can't go with this. Thusly, you have to go with the bottom route. This leads into a purple key, which, once again, since you can't spend any more pink keys, you have to open the top purple door for a white key, which can then trade a neutral open into a cyan key, now getting you towards the middle of the level. Now with a purple key, you can make a couple neutral opens and then grab your cyan key to progress, another neutral open, and now you have to look a little ahead before you pick what to do next. You could just grab the purple key right now, but that effectively wastes your keys when you'll be getting another orange key immediately after the pink door, and it'd otherwise just be useless. Thus, you open the orange lock for the pink key, and now it's just a straightforward neutral open, then grab your pink key and get out. Now this is probably my favorite level from World 1, as it's very logic heavy. To start, we gotta identify that we'll need all 8 cyan keys, so you know that you'll have to pick at least 1 route for every key. The first big observation will be that you have 2 routes that require at least 1 orange key payment, but you only have 2 orange keys. Thus, you can mark off the double orange and orange route in the top right as possible options, and obviously then you can go down the alternate ones for those. The next useful clue is the first purple on the bottom. This means that you effectively have 2 purple to work with, all things considered, which you can either spend on the double or the 1, leaving you with 1 purple key that won't be used. This lets you branch into a couple of paths rather than hundreds of just completely random options. If you opted for the single lock, that means you're locking into opening the double green door on top. After that, you have to open the white and pink on the left, setting you down to 3 white. However, if you count the white locks on all the paths that remain, you'll see that you're short 1, and you would have to spend a green to get 1, making this route completely invalid. Thus, we go back, and now we know we have to go for the double purple gate, and the white plus pink lock in the top right. Since we don't have a pink key, you pick the double white for the final top key, and you're left with 3 greens and 1 of everything but pink, which just so happens to be exactly enough to open the green routes for every key. The final level of World 1. To start, you have to grab 2 of the respective gate at the bottom's key from up top, which will then be a neutral open, letting you progress past where you previously stopped. First up is purple, which is effectively where your success or failure in solving this puzzle is determined. It really doesn't matter after this. The key is just identifying where the run could die if you pick a certain combo of paths. Mainly though, if you take the bottom one. If you play it out, any combination using the bottom purple key will fail, because inevitably, you'll have spent that one's orange key too early. Either route using it leads to the player already having spent the middle cyan key to access the double pink lock, meaning to get 2 cyan for the bottom, you'll have to go spend another orange key early to get to the top cyan key, making that a failure because you'll only have 1 orange key left up top. So, you have to go top and middle purple, and by just following the routes to the end, which always leads into forcing the player into going for a specific path, and so I'm not going to give a play-by-play on this. You'll end up taking the bottom 2 orange keys last to open the gate and finish World 1. So that wasn't too hard, right? Definitely some difficult stuff in the bonus levels, especially if you're not trained on this yet, but trust me, it'll look like child's play in time. Also, a brief general tip going forward. Sometimes the level names do offer a hint, so try to pay attention to that as it can help. And I know that was just kind of shoved in there, but I didn't really know where else to put it, and it has helped me quite a bit in the late game especially. But regardless, I hope that this helped some people, even if it was just probably polishing off a world rather than actually beating it. But yeah, I hope I'll see y'all in World 2 very soon.